Marvel Studios' Ironheart has finally premiered with its first 3 episodes now on Disney+. Starring Dominique Thorne as the titular Riri Williams, Ironheart continues Riri's story following the events of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, 6 months after she inadvertently started a war between the nations of Wakanda and Talokan. Thus far, these first 3 episodes have been full of solid connections to both the wider MCU and the original comics. In Ironheart's first 3 episodes, Riri desperately needs funds to build her suit after her unfortunate expulsion from MIT. Joining a crew of thieves led by Anthony Ramos's Hood to seemingly steal from the rich and corrupt, Riri quickly finds herself in over her head. To that end, here are all 36 MCU Easter eggs and connections we found in Ironheart episodes 1 to 3. Bigger than Pym, bigger than Stark. Ironheart episode 1 opens with Riri filming a video, voicing her determination to become as big and iconic as some of the MCU's brightest minds, including Hank Pym and Iron Man himself, Tony Stark. A night with Thor and his hammer. Riri's best friend Natalie says she wants a night with Thor and his hammer, bringing to mind Spider-Man: Homecoming's FMK jokes with Thor, Iron Man, and the Hulk. Internship abroad. Riri's internship abroad is a reference to her time in Wakanda, as seen in 2022's Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Griot algorithm. Riri's attempt to create her own algorithm is based on code from Griot, Shuri's AI in the Black Panther movies voiced by Trevor Noah. Professor Wilkes. MIT's Professor Wilkes makes his MIT return. Played by Community's Jim Rash, Wilkes was first featured in Captain America: Civil War, trying to convince Tony Stark to provide some of his grant money to MIT faculty, hoping to fund his self-heating hot dog. Trevor is a basic AI assistant for MIT students. Depicted as a cartoon pencil, Trevor is a nod to Microsoft Office's old virtual paperclip assistant Clippy. Riri's student ID. Riri gives Trevor her student ID, 30,216 RW. March 2, 2016, was Riri's first appearance in the original comics with Invincible Iron Man's 7th. Friendly Neighborhood Service Van. The name on the side of the van used by Hood's crew is a clear nod to Marvel's Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Stuart Clark, also known as Rampage. Eric Andre plays Stuart Clark, a tech wizard who prefers to go by Rampage. Rampage is a character from the comics who once served as tech support for the Punisher. Thanos was just the beginning. Tony can't save us this time. A man on the street is shown yelling about Thanos and Iron Man's sacrifice in Avengers Endgame, citing bigger threats he believes are imminent. The MCU's version of a public doomsayer. Iron Girl, Iron Chick. After Riri loses control of her suit and crashes thanks to her expulsion from MIT, people on the street refer to her as both Iron Girl and Iron Chick, confirming that we've yet to hear the actual Ironheart name in the MCU. Stark Fellowship. Riri talks about how she no longer has money from the Stark Fellowship, the grant Tony set up for MIT students in Captain America: Civil War. 1972 Plymouth Barracuda. Riri's car from Wakanda Forever is referenced, confirming that she built it with her stepdad Gary. Riri also reveals that she sold the car for money for the sake of her suit. Who else would it be? In the comics, Riri's AI was patterned after Tony Stark himself, so the comment from Natalie's AI is definitely a meta-nod. Natalie, gotta love Marvel acronyms. Natalie decides to go by Natalie, Neuro-Autonomous Technical Assistant, and Laboratory Intelligence Entity, a clear joke on all the classic MCU acronym names like S.H.I.E.L.D. Parker's and cousin Jarvis. John King. Parker Robin Hood also has a cousin named John. On the page, John was the one who tipped Parker off to his magically imbued hood and boots, and eventually became the villain known as Cancer. Orange is the New Black. Black market tech collector Joe references the popular Netflix series Orange is the New Black, citing that the show proves he wouldn't last in jail. Arc reactor. Joe questions why Riri's suit doesn't have an arc reactor like Stark's Iron Man suits, to which Riri explains her suit is mainly solar and lunar powered. Spy Kids. During the tunnel heist, Natalie and Riri make references to Spy Kids, the classic franchise from director Robert Rodriguez. Thing Addams Family. remote controlling one of her gauntlets during the heist, Natalie remarks that the crawling armored hand looks an awful lot like Thing from the Addams Family and more recently Netflix's Wednesday. Hood's classic comics powers. The powers of Anthony Ramos's Hood are just like they are in the comics, with the Red Hood allowing him to turn invisible when he holds his breath and firing curved bullets from his twin pistols. Wrestled it off a demon. Clown and Clown tells Ree that she heard Parker got his hood by wrestling it off a demon. This is a reference to Hood's comics history, where Parker did indeed get his magical hood from a demon-like villain that gradually came to possess him, Dormammu. Faust poster Devil's Horn. When Natalie talks to Riri outside after the heist, several posters behind Williams show a silhouette of a man with the name Faust, and some even have horns. This seems to be a reference to Parker making a Faustian deal with the devil for his hood, as well as being the next big tease for the long-awaited demon Lord Mephisto, who loves making deals with mortals for their souls in the comics. Aliens, androids, wizards. Riri echoes Sam Wilson in Falcon and the Winter Soldier when she says his aliens, androids, and wizards line. The big three threats in the MCU. While they start with a Star Wars reference, it's revealed that Xavier and Riri are major Star Trek fans, calling back to their fandom first established in the original comics. Alanis Morissette. Joe and Riri bonded in the car over their love for singer Alanis Morissette and her 1995 hit You Oughta Know. The song also plays during the credits for Ironheart Episode 2, Ocean's 11 Sopranos. At the beginning of Ironheart Episode 3, Riri asks Parker if their crew is like the movie Ocean. S11, starring a crew of charming thieves, or more like The Sopranos, a darker series focusing on the mob and organized crime. Vibranium, Pime, Tech. Wondering about Hood's powers, Riri asks Parker if his hood is powered by vibranium or even Pym Tech, two of the biggest sources of science-based powers in the MCU. The next Death Star, warning Riri about Parker, Natalie says that for all she knows, Parker is having his crew heist parts for the next Death Star, a fun reference to Disney's other major live-action franchise. Riri's panic attacks. Riri's struggle with panic attacks is a key parallel to Tony Stark himself, who also struggled with panic attacks in the wake of 2012's Avengers. Obadiah Stane's ashes. Riri finds the ashes of Obadiah Stane in Joe's house, the MCU's first-ever villain from 2008's Iron Man, confirming that Joe is actually Obadiah's son Ezekiel. Ezekiel's off-grid life taking a fake name and keeping his past a secret. Ezekiel living the majority of his life off. The grid mirrors his comics arc, at least until Ezekiel was ready to get revenge on Tony Stark, completely taking Iron Man by surprise. Ironmonger. Ezekiel refers to his father as an ironmonger, while Obadiah did refer to himself and Tony as ironmongers in 2008's Iron Man. This is the first time in 17 years that the comic's name has been attributed to Obadiah alone, and after his monstrous suit of armor was created.